Well, so this was a game I never expected to review. So, welcome back everyone. Yep, that is of course right. Now, today's review is of course of The Order 1886. Now, this was a PlayStation 4 exclusive, released in 2015. And, well, if you forgot that this game existed, I don't think anyone would blame you. Now, The Order is a particularly interesting game. On one hand, it does a lot right, but on the other hand, it just feels like a lot is really just kind of dropped on. Now, in this game, well, most people probably know about this game because of the werewolves. Yeah, so you're werewolf hunters. You're also fighting, well, a lot of people, specifically rebels and such. That's like kind of most of the game's antagonists, which is kind of disappointing. But the werewolf parts are actually pretty cool. Now, there's about 16 chapters in this game. Most of them are fairly, short. Not too bad, not a long game. I think it took me about like anywhere from like 8 to like maybe 12 hours to complete this. I think my issue with it is that some chapters just really did not need to be chapters. They could have just been. It just feels like some of these parts could have just been combined with others to kind of make the story flow a bit better. But I guess, well, what are my thoughts on the story? Is it interesting? Would I recommend it? Well, without giving away too much spoilers, I think the story is pretty interesting. I was actually getting captured by the story, after a few chapters. I think the story presents itself in a pretty nice way, and I do like the characters in this game. I thought they were pretty cool, and I also really loved the gameplay. The gameplay is very interesting. There's all sorts of weapons you can use against those living and, well, the undead. And some of the fights are pretty interesting too. So, I guess one of the other things I like about this game, I like how it ends. The epilogue is pretty cool. It did kind of leave room for a sequel if one of it did happen, which honestly, I kind of would like to see that. And the graphics are pretty nice. It's a third person over the shoulder shooter, and honestly, it does a remarkable job with that. So, I guess, why is it disappointing? Well, honestly, aside from parts of the story being rushed, you don't really fight werewolves that much. I think that's probably my biggest complaint with the game is that the game kind of presents itself as you hunting werewolves. Like, they're the big bads. And so you're gonna spend most of the game killing these things. Only for you not to really do that. Like, you're hunting down more people than werewolves, which is kind of sad. And sure, there's a whole twist towards the end, which, in my opinion, was definitely out of left field and really made me fall in love with the game. But I just feel like they could have had werewolves appear a lot more. I've also heard that there might have been vampires in this game. I'm not completely sure. And if there were, well, then I feel like they're underused too. But if a sequel of it does happen, I would also like to see more of that. So, I guess, would I recommend this game? Honestly, yeah. I mean, you can find it on sale pretty easily these days. And honestly, it's a pretty fun game to play through. It's not the best, and honestly, I've reviewed other games that have had better stories that were either similar to this or just kind of around the same genre. But for all its faults, The Order 1886 is a fairly remarkable game, and honestly, it's a pretty good exclusive, despite these flaws. I personally would recommend it to anyone who hasn't played it yet, or for those looking for trophies. Either way, that's all I have to say about this one. So until then, thank you all for watching. Have a nice night.